How's the team feeling after a tremendous weekend at home?
Yeah, I think got some good experience. A lot of different people got opportunities this weekend, so now in a good spot to head on a good road trip and a challenging one heading out to Oregon.
You pulled Mimi after just 2 pitches in the last game, Charleston Southern. What kind of happened there at the exchange with the umpire and the review, and then pulling her after that?
Yeah, so he was calling illegal pitches on her, and so instead of just having her out there try to battle the illegal pitch mindset, just had Julia ready to go. So and then trying to get with the NCAA umpire and find out what is illegal about it. So making some changes, but no use in keeping her out there if they're going to keep calling it. Yeah.
Was it similar to the McKenna Reed stuff in the College World Series a few years ago?
No, McKenna's was the back foot, hers was the front foot. So it was just more of like how she was coming off the rubber, but the reality is you can't hover the rubber. So it was just no use in us having a conversation while she's trying to throw pitches. So yeah.
How impressed were you with the 5-game sweep basically at home after the Texas A&M series?
Yeah, I mean, I think Texas A&M, we had a lot of good conversations, and I think the ability to come back the next week and implement some of those things that you wanted to work on and be better at. So I think pitching wise, we executed some good pitches and good situations this weekend, which we needed last weekend. I think offensively we were more of a unit. I think defense was pretty sharp too. So so there's some really good stuff that we learned. So it's a long season and we're still in the beginning stages of it. So again, now next steps are getting on the road, playing in a hostile environment in Oregon. That's a kind of a crazy environment out there in Jane Sanders Stadium. So so excited about that, and I'm excited about the challenges for sure.
Yeah. When the last time you guys ever been to Oregon, or would that be a first for FSU softball?
No, we went in 2018 or 2019, I think. Tim would know this, but we went out there and we got our butts beat, and we went straight from there to the ACC tournament, and then ended up winning the ACC tournament. So it was kind of a crazy tough. They had a really good squad out there, which they do again this year too. So I just remember the challenge for us and the travel, the West Coast travel. That was a big thing for us to try to understand, which we're going to try to understand how to get our bodies right to be able to compete at the best time, late at night and that kind of stuff. So, definitely. I don't think a lot of our players, obviously we're here for that time, but we as a coaching staff know what we're going into.
Will it be good to kind of get out on the road again, team chemistry wise, and just get some team dinners together and hangouts?
Yeah, I mean they hang out a lot together. They're pretty tight already, but I think that one thing that when you get on the road is you are spending 24/7 together, so you do get more opportunities to sit down and talk the game, or they like to play cards, or whatever it is. Our parents travel really well too, and we have a good fan base that travels well also. So there's a lot of connection with our boosters and our family members in the hotels too, which is really nice. So I think we enjoy both sides of it. We enjoy being here and we enjoy being on the road.
Seeing Julia stepped in after what happened to Mimi and pitching 9 strikeouts. I think that's a career best for her. Just thoughts about how she just continued to settle in after just coming from Hofstra.
Yeah, so again, just haven't talked about the Texas A&M series and how we could be better and how we're going to try to beat certain hitters in certain situations. I think we had some good clarity on what I was calling and what she's trying to execute. So again, the more we get in those situations, the better for us. And she was going to be ready to go at the start of the game anyway, so it wasn't like kind of a scramble, get ready. I think her mind was already in a good spot in that sense. And so then, the ability to execute and expand the zone, that's a big thing we've been working on.
Last week you talked about needing to finish, and that was like the big message from after the A&M games.
Yep.
Did you kind of see that this week?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was pretty crazy, some of the numbers that we put up. So by staying in it, at that point, sometimes takes a lot to do too. So excited about that doubleheader mentality. That's always kind of a tough one too. So so definitely some good points on that side and the energy side.
And then you said Oregon was a challenging team. What about it? What about them is challenging?
They have good pitching. They've got some depth in the pitching. They're fast. They're a very fast team. But they're hitting a little bit more for power than I think they expected, or maybe they projected in the beginning. But they're definitely adding both that speed and power. And then just the elements. If we call them elements, but we're going to have some rain and some overcast and some things that we're not used to. So you add that to it, and then the pretty excited fans that they have out there that support their team and really get after it. So all those things, when you put it together, it's going to be a good competition for us.
What are you hoping to see again with your team tomorrow in Jacksonville in the doubleheader?
Yeah, again, I think we're going to have a little bit of weather tomorrow too. If the wind or the rain goes by, we're going to have lots of wind, which is always a kind of a fun thing to really have good communication on that side of it. So, but they're playing well. Both teams, UNF, JU's playing well right now. again, a lot of good transfers from a lot of good schools that kind of has solidified their lineup, so they're going to be really competitive for us. So getting off the bus, getting after that, knowing we have a 5 a.m. flight the next morning and going, I mean, it's just going to be a lot to manage, but that's what we've prepared for.
What, aside from wins, will make this road trip, I guess the one to Florida and the one to Oregon, successful for you?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, I mean, we have a lot of challenges within the whole trip, but then you kind of get to the very last, you got a doubleheader against Portland State before you come in here, and can we be the best ACC team we can be against Pittsburgh when we come back, So if you're going to go on different time zones and play heavy competition and play 6 games on the road and then get back here, have a day break, and then get after Pitt, can our minds be right for that Friday night game when we play Pitt?
With the ACC being a coast-to-coast league now, how does that help you prepare for having to take those trips more frequently?
Prepare on coast-to-coast trips is something tough to do. You have to do it. You have to do it to know what it's like. You have to do it to know what a red eye's like. We're obviously taking a day after trip because it's during spring break, but when we play Cal, we're going to come back on a red eye. And being a California person, I know what a lot of red eyes are like. And so every person acts, reacts differently to them. So we're gonna have to see what our team's like. Does it take a couple days to get back on time? Can we commit to staying up late, getting up early, doing all the things to stay on East Coast time? So I just think we have to experience it. So this will be a good experience for us. Then we can come back, understand what it's like, and then when we go out to Cal again, we can talk about what the after effects were on this trip here. So I just think you have to live. We have a great plan. Our player performance group has put together a great plan, that goes into anything. Can we implement that plan? Yeah.
So, Coach, on the left side of your infield, you got lockdown. You got Jason and Issa who are basically locked that down. On the right side, there's some platooning, both at second and first.
Yeah.
Is that something you'd be comfortable doing the entire year? Or is that something you're just trying to see who fits best there? What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's definitely going to be probably strategy. I mean, obviously when Annabelle's pitching, we're going to need someone to play there, and Annabelle's not pitching and we want a lefty in the lineup, we have her there. If we want a righty in the lineup, then we have Christina and Annie. If we want a lefty in the lineup, then we have Shelby and Bueno. If we want a righty, they want to have Maya. So I just think it becomes strategy at that point. Yeah.
And so do you anticipate that's probably how it's going to be the rest of the year as far as how you handle it? Or?
Really know yet. I mean, obviously on the Annabelle pitching side of it, that's how it's going to be the rest of the year because you have to platoon that part of it.
Right.
But the other part is just going to kind of see how it plays out.
Okay. And this year it seems like you've got fewer home games. I think you've only got around 24 or something like that, which is lower than usual.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that wasn't the plan to have fewer home games. Is that kind of how it just worked out, or how'd that happen with the scheduling?
Yeah, I mean, usually we open up at home, so there'll be 5 extra games at home there. And the Puerto Vallarta trip was planned on 5 or 6 years ago. And then the Oregon trip was supposed to be last year, and that got delayed because of the storms out in the West Coast out there. So it just happened to compile that we have a lot more road trips this year. And then obviously the ACC making the adjustments and then adding Cal in. So it just kind of the perfect storm of some things happened for that. So it wasn't like we were planning either way. It's just a lot of things happened to end up making this year a big travel year.
I got you.
Yeah. So
Thanks, guys.
next year, plan on being home all